Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi, my name is Becca Kidwell. My full name is Rebecca Cecilia Kidwell, and I'm based in Jersey City, New Jersey, in the U.S. And let me tell you my story. Have you ever realized it's not the worst moment of your life that defines you? It's the 10 seconds after it. Because those 10 seconds decide who you become. Mine happened lying on the street in Jersey City. It was late, around 11:30 at night. I had the right of way. I stepped out onto the road, and then an e-bike came out of nowhere. Fast, too fast. And in that moment, I knew I'm going to get hit. And a voice inside me said, lie down. And I did. And it ran over me. The bike didn't stop. But people did. Cars stopped. Strangers got out. They lifted me up, called an ambulance. They stayed. But that wasn't the end. Because a few weeks later, I was hit again and again. And suddenly, the world didn't seem safe to me anymore. I started asking myself, what is happening in this world? Why is there so much anger? Why is there so much fear? And I realized something dangerous was happening. Not just out there, but inside me. Because I had a choice. I could shut down, close my heart, withdraw, protect myself. And honestly, that would have been a lot easier. I grew up with trauma. Fear wasn't new to me. Closing off, that was familiar. But then I saw something clearly. That's exactly what fear wants. Fear doesn't just come from what happens to you. Fear grows in what you do next. In that moment, those 10 seconds, you decide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do I close or do I stay open? Do I retreat or do I reach out? Do I choose fear or love? And that's when I created something simple, something I could hold on to in those moments. I call it L-E-T. L. Let. Let yourself feel. Not suppress it, not deny it. Feel it. The anger, the fear, the pain. Because if you don't feel it, it controls you. E, examine. Get curious. What's underneath this reaction? Why am I angry? Why am I afraid? What is this really about? Because when you examine it, you create space. T, turn. This is the moment, the decision, the 10 seconds. Turn toward love, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because this isn't just my story. This is your life. Every day. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone says something hurtful. Someone ignores you. And in that moment, you have the same choice. React or respond. Close or connect. We live in a world where we are more connected than ever and more disconnected than ever. We scroll, we rush, we pass each other. But we forget. People are hurting right next to us. We think change comes from big moments, big speeches, big actions. It doesn't. It comes from small moments, quiet moments, invisible moments. A smile, a pause, a choice. Because the world doesn't change from grand gestures. It changes in the moment you choose love, instead of fear. And that choice is always yours.
Becca, thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
What a beautiful story and a beautiful reminder to all of us, in this world that is going at such a fast pace. We're knocking each other over and not even seeing what we've done. Your whole story is a metaphor for what's going on right now.
Absolutely.
So, did you feel more shock, fear, or something else entirely when all of this was happening in that moment?
In that moment, that initial moment, I felt shock.
Mm.
It wasn't until after the process started happening that I was able to start processing things. And
Yeah.
then after the shock came the anger and the fear.
Now, after the second and third incidents, what was going on through your mind?
I was just getting more afraid and more afraid because I had to go out into the world. I had things to do, but I was like, just go from place A to place B, go from my home to my appointment, from my home to a rehearsal, and get there as quickly and as efficiently as possible, and try not to disturb as many people as I could, but was very hyper aware of what was going on around me and kept getting more hyper aware and more hyper aware. And I was really starting to be, this world is not the world that I had been living in for the past 13 years, because I moved out to New York in 2013, and I was like, New York always felt like, I know this sounds crazy to people, but it always felt like a home. It felt like a very lovely community where I could walk around the streets, and even though you've heard stories about it, it never felt like an unwelcoming place, but it was starting to feel like an unwelcoming place. And I was like, I need to get cabs to go places. And when I was going home at night, I was like, I definitely, I needed to go and get a cab from the bus to my house because I did not feel safe walking home. And I was just a lot less secure in my footing around everything.
Yeah. Now, when all of this is happening, when did you realize that your response mattered more than what was actually happening to you?
I'd say it became around the time when I was pretty much like, I had things that I could do but didn't have to do, like go out and hang out with friends, or go out to shows or something like that. And that those were especially at those times, it was very easy for me to just say, and particularly I'm an introvert, so it was very easy for me to say, no, I just don't feel like going out right now. And I don't have to go out right now. So why bother? It there's no reason to go out right now. But I was like, well, at the time I was around 40, 47, 48 years old. And I was like, I've been living my life all this time. And I had chosen through, again, I said I grew up with trauma and stuff. I had chosen to live my life finally, and had chosen to not let fear get the better of me. And I was like, I'm not going to let it get the better of me now. I'm not going to stop living my life just because the world's gotten a lot scarier. Because if I let that happen, then fear wins. And yes, I'm very hurt right now. I mean, I was really hurt physically. I could feel the hurt in my body. I mean, it was because, well, I had the physical reminder. I was I had a scar on my head, so I actually had a physical reminder.
Right.
So it was not something that was like, it was just a metaphysical scar even. But at the same time, I was like, when did I've always been someone who's turned to healing, and I've been in therapy. I've done Reiki. I've always looked to mindfulness and all things like that.
Right.
And I was like, breathe, and yoga. And I was like, breathe. Do I want to close myself off and no longer be a part of this world and just have a half-life?
It would be.
Or do I want to be a part of this world? And it all came down to love. And I was like, I have friends who do care about me. I have a family who cares about me. And also I care about so many people in this. I mean, there's other people that are hurting in this world. And even the people who hurt me, they didn't.
Too. Yeah. Probably didn't even know. That's the one thing that you said that really struck me. You know, sometimes you're in traffic and you experience road rage, or somebody's trying to rush past you. You actually don't know what's causing them to be in such a hurry.
No.
To be so disconnected and not present. It could be a family emergency. There could have been an accident at their home. You just don't know.
No.
But we start absorbing these things and internalizing them without that understanding that it's got nothing to do with you. This person has got some stuff going on that you're not aware of. Now, can you walk us through the LET framework in a real life situation and how that can be applied?
Sure. So again, so you so say I someone has called me out. Someone has said something mean to me and said something rude to me for some reason or another, just out of the blue, and I don't know why. I can feel hurt about that, and the L is allowing myself to feel hurt about that, and to be angry, upset, sad, and actually feel those emotions.
Yeah.
There's your feelings are valid, and
Yes.
you are allowed to be hurt or allowed to feel anger or upset. Your It is important to feel your feelings. They're there for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
and not feeling them is is not going to allow you to get to the next step. It's not going to allow you to get to E, which is examine,
Yes.
because it's actually going to not allow you to control your situation, because you're not recognizing what your situation is,
Mm-hmm.
that you are actually upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
E is to examine. So this person called me um, a, a disrespectful or something like that,
Yeah.
and I'm upset about that. And underneath that, I look at that and I'm like, well, flying earbuds. Um, I would really be angry at that and upset about that, because I'm one of the most respectful people I know. and for someone to call me disrespectful, that is so out of character for me. And
Yeah.
so I would be like, what did I do? And if they didn't explain it to me or anything, and just said I was disrespectful without explaining it or something, I would be very upset, because
Mm-hmm.
I would be looking to find what I did. And if we didn't have a conversation or something about it, I'd be like very frustrated and upset.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'd also look at their situation, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, maybe this wasn't about me at all.
Exactly. Exactly. So, what does pausing actually look like in the middle of conflict or fear?
So that looks like, so again, I think that's again, maybe that's not me, maybe it has nothing to do with me at all. And
Mm,
taking that breath, and then saying, I'm going to turn. I'm not going to love the situation,
mm-hmm.
but I'm going to love this person, and I'm going to send out love in this world.
Regardless of what's happened.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we get to make a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you're reminding all of us today, that the choice is always with you.
Mm-hmm.
The choice is, how do you choose to respond to everything that's coming at you in life? Do you let
And
it get to you, or do you distance yourself from it? That's the choice that we all get to make.
yes,
I love
and then I don't go and like go exploding at that person who's called me disrespectful.
that. And that's again another reaction that you actually don't need.
Yes, absolutely.
We're always reacting to things. Oh my gosh, this is fascinating. Now, you've come to a point now where you can see it clearly, but why do you think most people react instead of respond?
Because we're always rushing around,
Mm,
and we we don't take the time to breathe. And um I mean, even with, it's so easy to respond, particularly with text and so forth, and messenger. It's so
yes.
easy to have an instant response to everything too, and to just automatically respond when someone texts you or something. And particularly text and messaging, you don't get the tone of a conversation. So you're automatically going to, it's so easy to get in an argument with someone. But even if it's not text or messaging, it's so easy to just, again, be rushing around and to not take that moment to slow down and say, wait. Or for me, like when I was hit in New York, one time, I did rush past that person who hit me just to get away so that no other conflict happened. And I got to sit on this train and just take it all in. And so I had time to think about it.
Yeah.
But but it's not always the case that, I mean, if you're in an accident or something, if you're in an accident with a car, I mean, I was in an accident with a car many years ago, and I mean, when you're in a confrontation with someone, it's so easy to start yelling at each other and to want to assign blame and to not talk things out. And I think that's what we all need to do, is breathe, talk openly, and not let the first thing we do is assign blame to everything.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of this has to do with monetary stuff when we do that, or again, personal hurt. But taking those moments of first acknowledge, it's namaste. The person in me acknowledges the person in you.
Yes.
And acknowledging that we're both human beings, we're both fallible. We both
make mistakes, and it was a mistake. That's why it's an accident.
Yes.
Everybody does it deliberately, right? But we forget.
Yes.
Now, my last two questions for you are a bit of a thought experiment. In the first one, I'm going to teleport you back to that young woman who went through this horrendous accident. If you could go back and give her 3 nuggets of wisdom, based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those 3 nuggets of wisdom be?
I would say the first is listen to that voice in your head and definitely lie down. The second is don't be afraid. You are being taken care of. There are people and other energies supporting you. And 3, you are loved and you are enough.
I love it. And I think you were reminded of that by the strangers who stopped and helped you up.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded of that when you sat in gratitude for what you had and not what you didn't have. That's something we all forget as human beings, just to take stock. What do I have? I have my health, I have my family, I have my friends. But we focus on what's lacking. And that's where most of us are living in what we are desiring for what might come tomorrow.
Yes.
They're teaching us real presence here. Last question is futuristic. And I'm going to teleport you into the future this time to meet the 90-year-old you. She's sitting in her rocking chair. Maybe she's on a dance floor with science and technology. You'll probably be on your feet. You could teleport and have a conversation with this wise woman who has led you up until this point. What will you say to her when you finally meet her?
Thank you for not rushing me. Or thank you for helping me to not be rushed.
That is powerful. That is so, so powerful. So you sit in the stillness of that energy of who you're becoming. I love it. Becca, thank you so much for coming online and sharing your wisdom with our community today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely fascinating to hear your story and to share it with our community.
I really
and
appreciate it.
thank you everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We're a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you are a woman who is feeling stressed, feeling overlooked, feeling like people are just brushing you over and you don't exist, remember just to tune in, go inside, and find your center. I think that's the biggest lesson that we've learned from Becca today. Or if you know a woman who is going through a struggle, please tag her on this video. Share this video on your social media platforms. Let us reach more women who are needing support and help right now. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Becca, thank you again for the interview.
Thank you too.
Bye for now, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.